All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Inside In Tennis Podcast. We are on the Believe Network. A lot of great content on that network on all sports. We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartMusic, all the regular podcast platforms. Mitch Michals here, another episode. Australian Open reaching the final stages. And joined now by friend of the program, back again. He is a former, member of a national championship football team that won another national championship this week. The Ohio State University Buckeyes, a broadcaster for ESPN, calling college football for them all through the bowl season. He also was a mainstay on radio for Cleveland radio, as well as a podcast host now, doing a lot of great work, and an avid tennis guy, as we all know. Dustin Fox. Dustin, man, welcome back to the show.
Mitch, good to be back with you, man. It's so much fun to be in my element, unlike... everyone thinks I'm just this football guy, but no, man, I'm you say tennis, I say what time?
I know.
I'm here.
And as a fan of football too, and as a fan of the MACtion games you guys call for ESPN, the MAC conference, I got that. I got the Djokovic. I got some of the tennis lines you drop in there too.
I try to get them in, just because, I got my tennis people out there watching, and almost every game I try to get something tennis related in, just because. Why not? Makes me happy.
Yeah, there's another one I just thought of too. It was sometime in the fall. I can't remember what game you were calling, but you sent me the message. You had Mutet indoor. Line that up too. So you had to watch some tennis during the prep before the game started. So this time of year too. I mean, we talk about if college football ramps up. We have the national championship game. You also have the Australian Open. There's just so much going on, and tennis having its spot in the calendar is pretty cool. Especially like we were talking before we started, these night matches, all the storylines and subplots. There's really no other sport, Dustin, that starts, okay, brief off season, you're going right for one of the biggest tournaments of the year. There's no real long lead up. It's just right to action at the top of the sport.
No, you're right. It's so quick. It just happens. I mean, I feel like I was just the other day watching the next gen finals and seeing some of these kids who by the way, Mickelson and Laurentine, both made a little run here in the Aussie. So it's cool to see it start. It's the first time I've really been. Usually, I'm covering the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama, around this time, and that's where I've always watched the Aussie Open, because we would. This is back in my heavy drinking days. We'd be out till 2:00 in the morning, and we'd come back, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's on?" And the Aussie Open would be on all night, so you could pull an all nighter and get some wagers in and that whole deal. But no, it's been a lot of fun this week. I caught up on some sleep last night, so I didn't see the whole Keys Iga match, but I did catch the end, which was the most intriguing, to say the least. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, but no, it's been great. You got to find time to sleep. I caught up on sleep last night because I know, Mitch, that tonight is going to be an all-nighter.
Yeah,
it's going to be an all-nighter with this Djokovic match to kick things off with Sasha. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. As Brad Gilbert said, sleep is overrated during the slams. You just got to try to find time for it and pick your spots. But what a great run-up it's been. We've got the men's semis tonight as we record this. The women's final is set for Friday night in the States, Saturday in Australia. Men's semi featuring four of the absolute best players in the world, one of them being Novak Djokovic. Dustin, he does it again. He beats Carlos Alcaraz. He wins that quarterfinal matchup. There's no real superlatives that you can't throw at this guy, and I know you're a fan of other sports, but what he's done at his age now, already the most accomplished tennis player of all time, he's really got to be in the discussion of one of the greatest athletes of all time, because transcending the game is one thing, how you're able to achieve greatness, but to do it so long and to keep all these challengers like a Carlos Alcaraz at bay, I just marvel at what he's able to do. Loses a set, has the injury thing going on, finds a way to win and really push Carlos Alcaraz around. This wasn't really a fluke or anything lucky. He was the better player for most of this match.
He was, and I give him tons of credit for the match. However, I will say this much, and we can talk more about it with Alcaraz. Is Alcaraz is so much more fit than Novak Djokovic. He's 16 years younger than Novak Djokovic. So he should be in better shape. He should be a better athlete. Yet somehow this dude who's 37 is just making this kid run around. He's making him look like it's like opposites. It's like Alcaraz looked like the 37-year-old and Djokovic looked like the 21-year-old. So I don't know if the kid will ever get over that. Maybe he will, and he has. I mean, he's got 4 slams, but boy, for Djokovic, and you're right, it's not just tennis.
Yeah.
Novak to me is becoming an all-time great in every sport, just an all-time great athlete, competitor for his championships that he's won, and then just how he's able to compete for so long. Like we talk about LeBron James in basketball, who's in his 40s now and still playing at a high level. But I don't know that LeBron's going to be a champion again.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, like Novak could win this whole thing right
Yeah.
now. I
It's
wouldn't be
really
surprised.
it's really crazy too. I heard another tennis player describe Djokovic perfect. I wish I would have thought of it this way. He just sees the court like it's like geometry. Like no one has a master of the tennis court, what to do, how to move, what shots to hit. Like he's like a conductor in an orchestra, just pushing all the right buttons. But on the Alcaraz point, you're right. I think he's so dominant. I know we're nitpicking at the top. He can beat everyone. He was the only guy to have a winning record, obviously, against Sinner last year. This matchup is tough. And I don't know if it's mental. It kind of highlights the mental side of tennis that Djokovic was able to come out with a game plan, a strategy. He served wide. He put him on his heels. He was avoiding the forehand and really understood the magnitude of the moment. This is the second match that they played in hard court recent memory, the other one being Cincinnati, where Alcaraz had a chance. He's up early. Djokovic might be teetering a little bit. You got to put him away. It's like Jason in those horror movies. You got to kill him because if not, he's going to come back.
No, there's no doubt. And like for Alcaraz, I mean, you can look back to the Olympics.
Mhm.
Djokovic just has that mental edge, and I don't know that there are many people, many competitors on this planet that have that mental approach and ability to focus, lock in on the moment, and especially the pressure points. Like that's where you win in tennis. We all know the great speech that Roger gave to Dartmouth, where he talked about the 54% rule, right?
Mhm.
Where he had only won 54% of his career points. But those crucial moments, those pressure points are when you got to win them, and he did. And that's what Novak does, and that's what the all-time greats do. But for Alcaraz, like he just needs to figure out something, some way to get over these moments.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. He looks the best. He puts on a show, but at the end of the day, like you got to be smarter. Like Novak knows when to go for winners. He knows when to go for broke. He knows when to hit, as they say a lot of times, hitting aggressive shots to conservative spots on the court. It's like the kid just goes for broke too much, and I think it hurts him.
There's an argument there, right? We see the highlights, the hot shots, and Djokovic just say, all right, I'll win 2 out of 3 points. I'll win the match. And that Olympic match too, it was, all the break points he saved. Yeah. You play tennis, you understand it at the recreational, at the club level. There's pressure that you feel when you're having to save a break point. Imagine what these guys are feeling with 20,000 strong in a major, right? No, and look, Alcaraz has 2 more chances in Australia to still be the youngest man ever to get the calendar slam, or to get the career Grand Slam, rather. So we're not writing him off at all. He's already an all-time great. But to get to that next level, this is a tough one for someone 16 years older. But again, props to Djokovic and where he goes. And the reward for Djokovic is Alex Zverev, Dustin, because he beat Tommy Paul. And look, try to put my American hat on for a little bit. That's a tough one for Tommy because he had great chances early and didn't convert. And it credits to Zverev. He fights. He knows how to dig in. He's in phenomenal shape. But Tommy was serving, had a break up in both of the first 2 sets and couldn't capitalize.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a young man that has all the tools, has some of the best game we've seen out of an American player in quite some time. I mean, he's going to be in the top 10 now, which is a great feat and exciting for him. But he had that match. Like, he should have won that match.
Yeah.
Serving the first set, the first set's on his racket and he just can't come through. It's like, man. And then he got bageled in the breaker. It's like, dude, Zverev. I love Zverev. I do. I think Zverev is a fun player to watch. He's a likable guy. I'm really excited for this match tonight. But Tommy Paul should be playing Djokovic tonight.
It's like he didn't come forward enough. And again, we're like nitpicking certain things, and a lot of it's Zverev and what the other player on the net is. We can say, oh, why didn't you do this? A lot of times it's the other player wasn't letting me do this. But you did kind of see that in the third set he won. He started attacking, and because you're talking about matchups and styles making fights, Tommy Paul's not beating Zverev in a baseline rally. Zverev can go all day, I just think that this is an opportunity, and you don't know how many of these you're going to get. Best of 5 tennis, though, and that's a credit to Zverev, right? And Djokovic, too. You can open this up. These guys understand the format. They've been there a lot. I saw the stat, too, Dustin. 9 Grand Slam semifinals for Zverev. That's the most all-time by somebody who doesn't have a major. So he's been here before, and maybe this is a chance, but he knows how to navigate his way through best of 5 tennis.
Well, and it's cool for him. I do give him a chance, by the way, against Novak. It's a slight spread. I mean, I think Novak's like minus 160 in this matchup, plus 120 I saw this morning on Sasha to win. And have you seen all the banter between these two?
A little bit.
Like fun banter.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
when Zverev won, was it the quarter match? And he was joking about, people are they saw me play Tommy Paul. He's like, no one wants to see, and then he joked about maybe Novak will let me win one. Novak snuck into the press conference, asked a question. Like there's a friendly bond between these two. So I'm looking forward to the match. And I honestly, I think that little playfulness that they have between each other can it maybe help Sasha Zverev, because most people are scared of Novak, and at least they have sort of a relationship where it's like, okay, it's not like I'm playing this all time deity, So
he's beaten him on hard courts as much as anyone in recent memory, but it hasn't been the best of 5 format. He can beat him
to go to a Grand Slam final too.
Yeah, and he had that chance the year Joker was going for the calendar slam. I think it was the semi the year Medvedev got him at the U.S. Open. Zverev pushed him to 5 and then completely kind of fell apart. Can he get over that? And I think, look, seeds make a difference, right? Zverev, and it's the work he put in. We know Djokovic is prioritizing slams, but Dustin, he's the number 5 seed. So he had to go through Alcaraz, luck of the draw. Zverev is the number 2. Did that take a lot, that Djokovic-Alcaraz match, out of him? Is the hip going to be a thing? You have to ask these questions. I know it's like Father Time's been kept at bay by Djokovic, but, he's coming off of a physical match, and he's playing a guy younger than him who can hit with him and can stay in these rallies. So I would expect... I'm expecting a long physical match. We can get to picks maybe at the end, but I don't think, like you said, Zverev's not going to be intimidated by the moment.
No. And he can sit there, and you saw that great 33 shot rally that Alcaraz had with Djokovic, which was so incredible.
Yeah.
That can happen every other point tonight with Zverev, because if you want to just get into a backhand baseline rally, go ahead. That dude will do it all day, and so will Djokovic. I mean, he can hit with the best of them and try to wear you out. But I honestly, if Zverev wants to do that, or if Djokovic is okay with that, if I'm Sasha, I'm like, okay, cool. This guy's 10, 12 years older than me. I'm like, okay, sweet, we'll do that. I'll try to wear you out, but it's going to be a 4 or 5 setter. I'd be surprised if it's a straight sets win for either player, but it's going to be really, really intense, fun tennis. And if you like to watch long rallies, like, you're in for probably a really, really good matchup.
I had to pull the head-to-head up of Zverev and somebody else because the Murray thing is real, I think. He's been a master strategist, and it's all about, look at how chill he is during the match. Made me think all the work he's putting in is before the match, like coming up with game plans, figuring out a way to attack. Murray's 3-1 versus Zverev. He had a win over Alcaraz. So I think that
this is a deep dive. I like this.
I think it's a huge addition. And look, it makes me wonder why weren't more players going out to Andy Murray? Because you hear guys like Roddick and you hear guys that played in his era and against him say he's one of the sharpest minds ever. Like, what an addition to Djokovic's team. Somebody that he also respects, by the way, which is hard to earn when you're as good as Djokovic.
What's crazy is, like, so many people were criticizing the move. Like, oh, this is just for PR. This is a stunt. It's like, okay, is it a stunt so far? Like, they seem to be really gelling, and he goes over to him all the time during the matches, and they're having conversations about strategy, I'm sure. And you're right. Like, Murray was a great a great player in terms of strategy. So now he can't do it, but he's got a guy that he can help. And they're, like you said, the mutual respect between two all-time greats is got to be really. I would love to be a fly in those conversations on the wall, listening to what those guys are saying, because in those 90-second blips where they have conversations, or 30 seconds, they're probably talking about some of the most crazy tennis stuff that would blow my mind. And I'm fascinated by it, and what they see and how they attack and things like that, because I'm sure that Murray has a strategy, a game plan, if you will, just like a football game plan for me when I played, going into a game, how you're going to attack it. Like, for me, I was a DB, how you're going to attack an offense or a wide receiver, or going to play into the certain players' weaknesses. And that's what they do in tennis. And I do think that Djokovic is so good at executing a game plan that he may play this match completely different than how he played Carlos Alcaraz 2 nights ago.
And to go on the football analogy a little bit more, like a coach too, right? That when you get scored on maybe the first drive, Murray's not going to panic. I've been down a set before in a major. We're fine.
Right.
We're good. We're good here. Nothing to worry about. Let's just clean some stuff up and we'll be okay. I can't wait. I can't wait for this one. Dustin Fox here on the Inside In Tennis podcast on the Believe Network. We're going to talk now about the other men's semifinal. It's going to be Jannik Sinner versus Ben Shelton. On the Sinner front, and we can, I don't want to gloss over what he's doing, but handling business, to say the least, beats de Minaur for the 10th straight time, is a minus 200 favorite to win this whole tournament going into the matchup with Shelton. There was questions maybe about the illness or how he was feeling against Holger Rune. He answered those pretty swiftly. Jannik Sinner, Dustin, is the best player in the world. He's at his most comfort level, which has been this Australian Open. And the way he cracks that forehand and is moving, actually both sides really, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't look at the Final Four and be like, okay, that's the favorite. We could see if upsets happen. But Sinner is on another level, at least so far.
The only way he loses to Ben Shelton is if he gets hurt, or if he gets sick, or if he has some sort of an issue. Because if he's just, even if he's having like an okay day, he's like, I don't feel great today. He'll wipe the floor with Ben Shelton. He is, I think it's like a minus 1,600 or something. Like you can get plus 1,100 odds on Ben Shelton, who is a top 10 player in the world, right, or top 20 player in the world, a really good player. He doesn't have a chance, I don't think, in this matchup.
Yeah,
Jannik Sinner is playing at another level. It's unworldly, especially on hardcourt, by the way. If he ever figures out grass and clay, look out.
All right, I don't want to doom Ben, and we're going to talk about how good he has been to get here, but...
And I love Ben Shelton, by the way. Love him.
If he gets broke, it's like that's the set, I think. Like, he has to hold his serve at an insane level, which he already does. The Sonego match, they were a little tight, both of them. Shelton played the big points so well. He just can't afford to have those lapses against Jannik. Because Jannik's serving at an unreal clip, even when he's playing better returners. I just think the movement is what's gained so much corner to corner. I mean, de Minaur might be the best mover in tennis right now. Like, he's up there. And Sinner can just stay with him, run with him a little bit, and just hit absolutely through him. It's insane to see. That said, you got to talk about Ben Shelton getting to his second, major semifinal in the last couple of years, and the fact that, the draw did open up for him. No Medvedev, no Fritz. But in that Sonego match, started to wobble a little bit. We've seen players wobble, but 4-all, it was like right after he dove into the Kia sign and did push-ups and got up. He played some lights-out tennis from 4-all. So the positives and the growth I've seen from Shelton, and he's talked about it, Dustin, is locking in when he needs to. Not the best returner, but when he needs a big one in the tiebreaker, he's delivered, and he's delivered time and time again in Melbourne.
I think sometimes he gets a little wild when he wants to go for broke, as opposed to like some players will play a little more conservative, just to keep the point going. Like he'll go for stuff and it costs him. I think he's in this matchup. He's going to have to be careful that every point he has to play, because like, for instance, in that third set against Sonego, he's up 40-love, right? And he gets broke to lose that set. Mm-hmm. So like Sinner is going to be in every service game, and he can't take any point for granted. He's going to have to play rock solid tennis for 5 hours if he wants to have a chance to beat Jannik Sinner. Like this isn't a best of 3. This is a best of 5. You got to beat Jannik Sinner for 3 sets. I think he'd be lucky to get 1 set.
Yeah, I trust Brian Shelton, his father, pro player in his day, great coach, won national championships. I trust him to come up with a game plan, and actually the best possible game plan. I just don't think it's going to be good enough to win, and that's not a knock on Shelton. Sinner on this surface is just finding a groove that we haven't really seen before. Yeah, Sinner would have to have an off day, and I think Shelton would have to not only serve lights out, but pick his spots. And you hear that too, right? Like, I wonder more so, and this is just me as a fan, like, I wonder why he's not going for broke earlier on the return games. It's almost like, okay, that first point even, if you get a look at a winner and you can just go for it, what's the worst that happens? Because the odds are you're probably not winning too many games, but any chance he can get an advantage, maybe the pressure creeps into Sinner a little bit, he's got to take. Otherwise, it's going to come down to tie breaks and how he can hold up.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I don't have the stats right in front of me, but Sinner doesn't get broke very often.
Not anymore.
Like, anymore. If you break Sinner, you better hold, man, because he'll break right back. Like, it's just, he's so good, man. And I saw those numbers on the odds, and I'm like, Yeah, there's a reason for that. Like this is the dynasty New England Patriots playing the Cleveland Browns, dude. Like it's
Yeah. You got the over under
and
too,
that's
right?
probably
Like it's
that's probably not
33.
fair to Shelton. This is
Yeah.
probably not fair to Shelton because Shelton's a really, really good player. But this dude's on
Uh-huh.
another level, man.
33 and a half over under for that total games, and it's 40 and a half in the Djokovic match. So that's just 40 is about what it is this level. I mean, you get good players playing, but 33 will
Hmm.
show you where we are in terms
I'm
of
just trying to think.
yeah.
Like, okay,
It's
it's probably gonna be straight sets, right?
Yeah, if you can get some tie breaks, though, I mean, you could still hit that number with some 3 physical sets. And I do think there's going to be, I mean, we can talk about it. Just one of the ones I would say would be, I would take the over. I think one tie break is about a solid price. And I think Shelton can get you to a tie break. And maybe even, who knows? I mean, get one or something. But it's
Is
be
it plus money on if there will be a tiebreak?
slightly negative, but not,
Okay,
but yeah. So
so like
it's,
yeah, it's a decent bet.
I think that's a solid one. Yeah, Shelton getting this far. American tennis still creeping up. Last thing on that though, before I wanted to switch to the women, Dustin, that Sonego had the 2 best shots of the tournament. I mean, he really did.
He's a trick shot
yeah.
artist, man. Like these are unbelievable. Who was it against? There were 3 shots actually. I'm just trying to think of obviously the shot against Shelton. He
Was it Stan
had
or was it Stan the one that he
yeah, it
hit?
was Wawrinka.
Yeah.
It was a shot against Wawrinka, and there was the other one. Who did he play in the 4th round?
Fourth round was he went Fonseca and then he went
Yes, Fonseca.
Lerner, and then
He hit a
Lerner.
shot.
Lerner was for you.
He hit a shot against Fonseca that was ridiculous. So maybe I missed one against Lerner, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Sonego was great. I think he got in his head when he started missing them overheads, and
Yeah.
he was serving in that 4th set, and it was up 40-30, and he misses an easy put away, and it goes the deuce. And I think that game, even though he ended up going to the breaker and then losing the breaker, but he was unsure of himself after that moment. I was like, oh, this guy. I felt bad for him. I really did, because he's a really good player, and he's an older guy who this was his best run, the furthest he's ever been in a major.
Not that old, like still younger than you think. Like he's still kind of, I think, like mid-20s and Italian tennis. Ben Shelton's going for his 3rd straight Italian victory. I know it's the toughest one, but just running through there. But yeah, these special that you hit a value like that, the banana value or whatever you want to call it. It's just got to be a really cool thing. So we'll see.
I was actually curious now that you said that, because Sonego is, as I pull it up,
I think like 27,
29.
29. Okay, a little older than I thought. Yeah, late bloomer then, because he didn't come on the scene till recently. But props to him, and we got to go. So we're gonna
Italians,
go,
man. I was looking forward to seeing maybe a Sinner Sonego matchup, man.
I know. So Sinner's the solid choice, obviously, but do you think Djokovic or Zverev win that one?
Dude, I'm right now at a coin flip, but you just during this podcast have sold me more on Djokovic, because I was leaning Zverev.
Yeah.
I always like plus money in tennis if I can get
Mhm.
it. But the idea of the Murray angle and coaching and strategy is very fascinating, because I do think that Novak goes into this matchup. I don't think he's going to be 100% healthy. People make fun of him and say he fakes injuries, and maybe he does. Some of it's gamesmanship, and that whole thing clearly got in the head of Alcaraz, because he
knew
was
that, and it's
mocking him.
smart, and it's look, I don't think he faked it, but if you see that they're not sure, and that's why having a good coach and why having a good team around you, say, look, don't worry about the other side of the net, whether it's an injury, whether it's a player that's freaking out, you play your game. And Djokovic used that to his advantage. But I'm with you. I'm going to go Djokovic. I think Zverev could absolutely win this match. I think Djokovic, Sinner would be an insane final. But to say that Djokovic is good, I mean, if Djokovic goes Alcaraz, Zverev, Sinner, and wins this at 37 years old, it would be on my short list for greatest runs of any tennis player to win a major.
Well, and not only that, it does seem as though he's got a chip on his shoulder with Australia, with the government, with the people there. Now they've been, the idiot from Channel 9 who tried to be funny, I guess. I don't know.
The thing. There's a lot of people that aren't that funny. I don't think it was anything more than somebody that's just not funny trying to be funny and whiffing completely on a joke, and should have apologized.
So bad.
Yeah,
but anyway, with that being said, it does feel like there's extra motivation for him to prove people wrong, especially this go around, especially at this venue, is my point.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait. It's going to be great to see. We go to the women's side now. The final is set. It's going to be Aryna Sabalenka versus the American Madison Keys. Second major final, first one since the U.S. Open in 2017. What a journey for Madison Keys. And what a match she played last night. You know, Iga Swiatek has all the hardware, had been playing well, only lost 14 games going into that match. Dustin, she was like Matty Ice last night because it was incredible to watch her in big moments, chasing in that tiebreak. She loses a set. She's falling behind. She gets it right in the second. Iga has match point. Matty saves it on Iga's serve. She's chasing in that super tiebreak, and she finds a way to win. It was remarkable. It's a testament to perseverance and the fact that she's always had that serious game, finally unlocking at the biggest stage.
It's so great to see because the MO on her has been that she's a choke artist. You know, I've got friends of mine in the tennis community where I live that love her and love her game, but they just don't have any faith that she can come through in big moments. And this was an all-time great moment for her, and I think she can win this whole thing. I think the Sabalenka matchup is going to be really, really fascinating. It's going to be quicker points. You know, it's not going to be a lot of rally. I mean, because Sabalenka's got the power, and Keys showed off that power like crazy this morning against Swiatek, especially late with those forehands and just painting the corners. Like, it was really fun to see her play with confidence. Because when she got down a break there, when she was 5-6, 6-5 serving, Iga was serving for the match. It's like, what's going to happen here? And it didn't matter, man. And when she got to 30-all, I'm like, all right, let's see what she's got. And then Iga started feeling pressure because she double faulted, I believe, on the ad out. Right? It was a double fault. So kudos to her. I'm so proud of her. I don't know her. I wish I did because she seems like a fun person to be around. Great energy, you know. And I'm happy for her, and happy for another American to potentially here get a slam.
So Keys is 29. She'll be 30 this year, and she's been around the game and near the top of the game for a long time. It's always felt with her game that she should be or could be a major champion. There was this knock on her, whether it's choking or the fact that she didn't have as much variety. She could hit hard. She can hit with anyone, but you can kind of frustrate her. You can knock her off of her game. I think it's a combination of really three things as shown. I mean, maybe four with maturity of just growing as a tennis player and as a person, but she's coming to net more. She's willing to come to net, working on her volleys. She had the racket change that was much talked about. People don't usually make changes to their hardware, to their stick at that point in the career. And I got to say, too, her new coach, her husband, Jordan Frantangelo, it's been a nice pair for sure, because there's obviously someone that's gotten through to change things up tactically. Last night was a match that we've seen her lose a lot in her career. And to be able to pull that one off was stunning and impressive.
You've watched, obviously, I'm sort of new to the game and watching the game as much as I watch it. This is about the last 5 to 7 years, more so the last few years. I watched almost everything. But like early in your career when you were watching, I wasn't. How was her service game? Because like I feel like her serve was really on. I mean, she outclassed Svitolina. Yeah. She had six aces to 3 aces. Like
her serve's been good.
She came up with aces in the tiebreak.
It's all consistency really, and like that's always been lacking. You know, she lost the major to Sloane Stephens in 2017 and got obliterated. Yeah, got obliterated, and you know that also shows you there's no guarantee you ever get back. Like she was 22. Okay, young American. We'll see her again. Well, it's been 8 years. It took an 8-year journey for her to get to this point. You know, the Sabalenka match at the U.S. Open in 2023, she was right there. Should have probably won that match in the semis, and unfortunately it doesn't go her way. I just think that the growth, the maturity, and also the fact that you don't have to, you know, we're seeing some trendsetters in this sport too, right? Where it's not all about the rise up. You can come back to playing your best level at 29, at 30, at 31, and beyond. So I'm excited. Now, having said that, Dustin, the reward in this case is the 2-time reigning defending champion who is just a bulldozer out there in Aryna Sabalenka. She made quick work of Badosa and really like spotted her 2 games and was like, okay, here's 2 games, and now I'm going to just run my way through the finish line.
Yeah, she's scary, man. I used to be like, I don't know if I'm a fan of her, but then as I've gotten to follow her career and see her do interviews and watch her matches, and boy, she's a sweetheart, man. I just love her game. I love her personality. I love what she brings to the game of tennis. And I honestly, both these players I love. I love watching both of them. Either one could win and I'd be happy. What's the line on this, by the way? The money line.
minus 300 plus 250 Keys was what I saw this morning. And I would tell you that Keys to win a set at minus 115 might be would be where my head's at, because I do think she can make a move in this. Sabalenka here is so comfortable, and you know, from a tennis standpoint, Dustin, the drop shot has been the biggest addition to her game. The drop shot, it's been buzzing. She's hitting it at the right time.
Women hate it.
She's using it at the right time. But here's the other thing about a good drop shot, right? It same with Alcaraz when he hits it. You have to earn that respect, right? It's like in, football or other sports. You got to, use the run to set up the pass or whatever. Sabalenka is crushing the ball. These women are having a tough time keeping up, and they're on their heels. Okay, now I'm going to mix in the drop shot when you have no chance to get to it. She's a master strategist now, which is, again, 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe Keys at a different stage in her life is following that path where, okay, I'm going to break the label of what you think I am as a player. And maybe she does it here.
It's that old, like, what they used to say in football, you show them something like in week 2, just so that they got to practice it and think about it. You know what I mean? And when you can do that and you can execute it, it does put a little bit of fear, a little bit of thought. It's how in my game, I try to serve and volley like once every 9 to 10 points, just to keep him honest. And that's what she's doing with the drop shot. I was just looking through the head-to-head here, which I'm sure you have too. Sabalenka is 4-1 against Keys. The only win Keys had was at Wimbledon on grass. So, Berlin on grass. So that is a completely different sport than this. So it'll be fascinating.
I think this is a new and improved Madison Keys in a lot of ways. I just also think Sabalenka, really what she had done, and I talked about this on the last show, winning and ramping up. She's following that Djokovic, Nadal, Serena, Federer model of, okay, I'm going to keep getting better as the tournament goes on. Don't judge my 4th round match level as my final level. I got more in the tank, and I'm going to abuse it, and I'm going to ramp it up, which is another part of it. This is 2 weeks is such a long time. A match every other day for 2 weeks to get to a major title. So that said, though, Dustin, if you talked about the path to a major title, Keys to win her first major in Australia if she does it. We'll go Rybakina, Svitolina, Iga, Sabalenka. It's pretty darn good.
How many slams you got combined there? I mean, it's just like, it'd be unbelievable if she could do this. Do you think there's pressure on her now, or is the pressure off because she got through such a tough match?
She hasn't won it before. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing. You got to get it. If
this were like Sophia Kenin, who has been there and done it one time, I know they're both Americans, and if she had one under her belt, it might be different, right? Is that what you think?
I do, because at the end of the day, this is an insane run, even if you lose, but no one's really going to remember it as much if you don't come up with a hardware and have a major championship, like I said. But if Sabalenka wins, we're talking about a three-peat at a tournament, which is rarefied air. And the other stat that I saw too, because Iga, again, like, she looked better. I think she's going to be a better hardcourt player in the long-term future. Sabalenka and Iga, if Sabalenka wins this major, will have won 8 of the last 12. So that's cleaning up those
dominance.
Two, So Sabalenka looking for her 4th major to just put her up in a higher echelon. But I'm with you. I think Keys has a chance. I think serving's going to be big. And staying in the rally with Sabalenka is going to be against someone who can actually match her power. I still give Sabalenka the edge because no one can out-hit her. But Keys can hang in there, and that's very rare to even say.
So where's the wager go on this one? I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna probably bet a money line wager on Keys, even though she'll have a chance.
I have a friend who thinks Sabalenka is going to win, but says I got to bet Keys because I've been wagering on her for so long. I'm not going to be on the wrong side of history. Like, I've been on it for 10 years. Yeah.
Maybe we both have the same friend. Because my buddy loves Madison Keys, hates her when she chokes, and has lost so much money on her in big moments that will most likely just throw down cash on Keys in this match because just for good measure. He's like, she's not going to win a championship with me not putting money on her, right? That's kind of how it goes. And it's always fun to bet on an American, and have a rooting interest.
I would say either Keys to win a set or the over. I know it's like the coward's way out in a lot of ways, but I just don't expect. Last year, Sabalenka destroyed Qinwen Zhang, first time major final, young, wasn't really expected to be here. But it's like Keys in 2017. When you're 22, 21, it's different than when you're 29, 30. You can actually see the finish line in this sport, and Keys, I think, has a greater appreciation. I would assume so. That, hey, this could be it. This could be your chance at history So I would expect her to come out and play well. Might not be enough, but to get a set to make this a long match, why not?
Yeah, I like the over. That's a good call. Or maybe take to win a set. That's got to be plus money, right?
Yeah. No, I know. Actually, I think it's like -110, -115.
Oh
I saw
man.
Sabalenka in straights as about that range, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the lines go. I might be off on that, but Sabalenka is I think -120 to win in straight sets. So we'll see. It'll be pretty close, but I'm excited because this is going to be a historic ending to this. Can we get Sinner on the men's side? You can have his Zverev first-time championship. I mean, Ben Shelton winning would just break the sport if he becomes a major champion here, and it's what a moment that would be. But you have Shelton either winning, you have Sinner just completely dominating again, Djokovic, Zverev first-time champion, Sabalenka three-peat, Keys first-time champion. So a lot of good storylines either way.
So let me ask you this. Let's assume Sinner's going to get there.
Okay.
Who gives Sinner a tougher matchup in the final, Djokovic or Zverev? Because at some point you got to think age and all these long matches is going to, and if he's battling an injury and Djokovic gets through this, like it's good. You got to be healthy. You got to be on your game, man, to be able to beat Sinner.
It's a very good question. A lot of factors to consider. Sinner's had the edge against Joker. He's not afraid of him. He's one of the few people that can actually say that.
Yeah.
He's beat him in a major, beat him in this major last year. Murray and the new re-energized Djokovic that doesn't have the Olympics as his tent pole. That was on his mind all year. All I care about is the Olympics. So now he's back to the majors. But I'd have to know. It's a cop-out, but I'd have to know how Joker's feeling. How long is this match? Is there going to be an injury issue? It's going back to back. And giving credit to Zverev, right? Because Zverev can play. He beat Sinner in the U.S. Open 2 years ago. Like Zverev has had some good results against Jannik in the past. So that's not easy either way. That will be a match that Sinner will have to earn and play well in.
Yeah, no doubt. You're right about the injury. I'm concerned. I'd want to know how bad it is for Djokovic. We'll find out, I'm sure, as we watch the semis. But I do think there's something going on there. He's not faking all of it. I think there's something that's bothering him. And obviously we've got modern medicine that takes care of things during matches. Now this is a different deal going into a new match, where you got to figure out how you feel.
They got to figure out a way to just limit the time you get, not just him, but Jannik had the same thing. They're saying that you get the doctor gets unlimited time to diagnose it, and then it's 5 minutes. Can we just clean that process up? Because I understand.
I've got a lot of problems with tennis and these stupid time clocks, and the serve clock's a joke too, by the way. The fact that they're like waiting to start the serve clock if it's a long point, like, dude, come on.
I know. Have some discretion. Also, Emma Navarro was going to lose to Iga for sure, but got completely screwed on that double bounce.
Can we fix that point? Like the double bounce review? Like, who's going to stop a point?
Never.
Like, I'd like to just review that.
It's never gonna happen. And that's that. If we're gonna bring VAR into the sport, which I agree, there should be limits. And I love how in other sports like hockey, there's stakes. If you get one wrong, you lose something. You have to be selective. But that's a point that would have been worth challenging. And she got robbed in that moment. And tennis can change on a dime. I just think that we got to fix that. But there's a lot of positives too. Well, Dustin, before I let you go, this is always
pleasure,
a blast.
Man.
Got to ask you as we wind down, how's your game coming along? Getting to play? Did you get to play on the road a lot when you were on assignment? And how are we working on some things there on the court?
I play a lot of tennis. Like, I've got the sickness. I play every day. In the month of December, I was on court for 53 hours in December.
Wow.
So it's at least 2.5 to 4 hours a day that I play.
Wow.
It's getting better, man. It's getting better. The streets are talking about Fox's forehand and backhand now.
All right. Progress.
Streets are talking.
Progress.
Oh, yeah.
And the doubles game, I know.
Dude.
It's just
doubles game is my jam, dude. I am at the net I eat.
Yeah.
So,
all right. No,
singles not so much.
Hey, you're getting there, but that's an insane commitment to a sport. And it shows you, and we talked about this last time, but you can become a fan. You can get hooked at any stage in your life, whether you're a kid coming up, former athlete like yourself, just somebody that wants a hobby, wants to be fit, wants to take it seriously. Hey, tennis is the way to go. I think we've proven that a lot of ways. So
it's changed my life, man, this sport. I love it. Love it.
Well, Dustin Fox, this was a pleasure. I'm sure not the last time we'll be chatting. We'll enjoy the Australian Open, and we'll see how our picks did. But always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the Inside In Tennis podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. Always a pleasure, man.
That was Dustin Fox. This was the Inside In Tennis podcast. We are on all your platforms for podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeart, to name a few. Subscribe, download, leave a rating, and keep following up with the show. Check out the video episodes on my YouTube page at Mitch Michals as well. So this will be up to in time for some tennis. And I can't wait to see how this Australian Open finishes up. We'll see who claims the hardware. For Dustin Fox, I'm Mitch Michals. This was the Inside In Tennis podcast. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll talk to you soon.